There is a profound and quiet exhaustion that comes from being at war with yourself. It's a battle waged in silence, in the small hours of the night, where the cruelest voice you have ever known is your very own. What if, just for tonight, you didn't have to fight? What if the only goal was not to win, not to lose, but simply to lay down the weapons and call a truce, even for a few moments? By the end of our time together, you may begin to see that this inner critic, this relentless voice of judgment, is not the truth of who you are, but a deeply ingrained habit, a shadow that has lost its power in the light of awareness. Tonight, we begin the gentle work of stepping into that light, not with force, but with curiosity and a quiet, unshakable kindness. Let's begin by finding a place of physical comfort, a small act of kindness for the body that has carried the weight of this inner conflict for so long. Allow yourself to settle into your bed or wherever you have chosen to rest. There is nothing you need to do, nothing to achieve. This time is a gift you are giving to yourself. Feel the support of the surface beneath you, the mattress, the pillows, holding you completely. You don't need to hold yourself up anymore. Let go. Give your weight over to the gentle pull of gravity, that constant, reassuring force that anchors us to the earth. Notice the points of contact between your body and your bed, the back of your head resting on the pillow, the curve of your neck, the weight of your shoulders sinking down, your back, your hips, the length of your legs, and the soles of your feet. Each point of contact is a point of safety, a place where you are being held. Now, bring a gentle awareness to your breath, just as it is. There is no need to change it, to deepen it, or to control it in any way. Simply observe the natural rhythm of your breathing, the gentle rise of your chest and belly on the in-breath, and the soft release on the out-breath. Each breath is a quiet tide, flowing in and flowing out, a rhythm that has been with you since the moment you were born. It is a faithful companion, a steady presence in the midst of any storm. As you continue to breathe, let's set a simple intention for this time together. An intention is not a goal to be strived for. It is more like a whisper to your soul, a gentle direction. Our intention tonight is simply this: to create a space for a truce. We are not here to silence the inner critic, to argue with it, or to banish it. That is just another form of fighting. Instead, we are here to create a quiet space around it, to acknowledge its presence without letting it dominate the entire landscape of your mind. Think of it like this: you are creating a neutral ground, a sanctuary within yourself where peace is the priority. And the first step in creating the sanctuary is to release the physical armor your body wears in response to that inner voice. So often, self-criticism lives not just in our thoughts, but in our very muscles. It is the tension in the jaw, the tightness in the shoulders, the shallow breath that keeps us in a state of high alert. Let's begin to soften this armor, piece by piece. Bring your awareness to your jaw. Is it clenched? Are your teeth grinding together? Without any judgment, simply notice. And on your next exhale, consciously invite it to soften. Allow a little space to form between your upper and lower teeth. Let your tongue rest gently in your mouth. Feel the muscles around your mouth and cheeks begin to let go. This is a small act, but it is a powerful one. You are telling your body that right now, in this moment, you are safe. There is no need to brace for impact. Now let this wave of softness travel up to your temples, across your forehead, and around your eyes. Let the tiny muscles that hold so much tension from a day of focusing and worrying simply smooth out. Feel your brow unfurrow. Allow your eyelids to rest gently without squeezing them shut. This part of you that has been scanning the world for threats, both internal and external, can finally rest. Let it be still. Let it be dark and quiet behind your eyes. Now, bring your awareness down into your neck and shoulders. This is where we so often carry the weight of our responsibilities, our worries, and our self-judgments. It feels like a physical burden, because, in many ways, it is. Notice the sensation there. Is there tightness? A dull ache? An area that feels like a knot of stone? Again, no judgment. Just a gentle, compassionate noticing. And as you breathe out, imagine that breath flowing directly into that area of tension. Imagine it as warm, liquid gold, softening whatever it touches. Give your shoulders permission to drop away from your ears. Feel them become heavy, wide, and relaxed. Let them sink down into the support beneath you. You do not need to carry that weight right now. You can set it down beside you, just for tonight. The truce has begun. It begins not with a grand declaration, but with a softening jaw. It begins with a released shoulder. It begins with the simple, revolutionary act of allowing your body to feel safe, even if just for a moment. This physical release is the foundation upon which a new inner relationship can be built. It is the soil in which a kinder way of being with yourself can begin to grow. Your body is wise. It knows how to heal. It knows how to rest. For so long, the mind's constant warfare has kept it in a state of chronic tension, unable to access its own deep wisdom of release. Tonight, you are gently reminding it how. You are giving it permission to return to its natural state of ease. Follow the breath now as it moves into your chest. Feel the gentle expansion as you inhale, making space for your heart. And as you exhale, feel a sense of release, a letting go of the pressure you put on yourself, the pressure to be perfect, the pressure to get it right, the pressure to be someone other than who you are in this moment. Let it all go with the out-breath. Just for now. You can always pick it up again tomorrow if you choose, but for tonight, let it rest. The inner voice of criticism thrives on pressure and tension. It fuels itself with the feeling of not enough. By consciously choosing to soften, to release, and to let go, you are quietly and gently withdrawing its fuel source. You are not fighting it. You are simply choosing not to feed it. This is the essence of the truce. It is a quiet rebellion of gentleness. It is a courageous act of self-preservation. It is the beginning of coming home to yourself. Allow this feeling of softness to continue its journey down through your arms, into your hands, and all the way to your fingertips. Notice if your hands are clenched into fists. If they are, gently allow them to unfurl. Let your fingers curl naturally. Feel a sense of warmth or tingling spread through your palms. These hands that have worked so hard, that have held on so tightly, can now rest. Let them be heavy and still. Let them simply be. This entire process is an act of listening, not to the loud, demanding voice of the critic, but to the quiet, subtle wisdom of your body. Your body has been asking for this peace for a very long time. It has been sending signals through aches, through tension, through exhaustion. Tonight, you are finally answering its call. You are acknowledging its struggle and offering it the gift of rest. As you lie here, bathed in this growing sense of calm, remember the intention, a simple truce, a ceasefire. You are creating a space where a different kind of conversation can begin to happen. A conversation rooted in compassion rather than condemnation. This space you are creating is sacred. It is your birthright. It has always been here, waiting for you, beneath the noise of the internal battle. Tonight, we are just sweeping the floor, opening a window, and letting in some fresh air. The work is not to get rid of anything, but to make room for something new. To make room for a kinder voice, a gentler perspective, a more peaceful way of being. And it all begins right here, in this moment, with this breath, in this body that is so worthy of your care. Allow yourself to rest deep within this quiet sanctuary you have begun to build. There is nothing more to do. Simply be here and allow. From this quiet space you have cultivated in your body, let's now turn our attention just as gently to the landscape of the mind. There is no need for any sudden movement, no need to brace yourself. We are simply going to become curious observers. For a moment, imagine yourself sitting on a peaceful hillside, looking up at a vast, open sky. It is your sky. It has always been your sky. And across this sky, clouds drift by. Some are light and wispy, barely there at all. Others are darker, heavier, more substantial. They come, they stay for a while, and then they move on, revealing the clear, unchanging blue of the sky behind them. Your thoughts, and especially the thoughts that come from this inner critic, are like those clouds. They are not the sky itself. You are the sky. You are the vast, silent, peaceful awareness in which all thoughts, all feelings, all sensations appear and disappear. The clouds are just weather patterns passing through. They are not you. For so long, perhaps you have believed you were the storm cloud. You have identified with its darkness, its turbulence, its heavy rain. Tonight, we are practicing something different. We are practicing remembering that you are the sky. And from this spacious perspective, we can begin to watch the clouds without getting swept away by them. So, let's just notice, without any judgment at all. What clouds are present in your sky right now? You don't need to go searching for the voice of the critic. In the quiet, it often makes itself known. Perhaps a thought arises about the day that has just passed, a replay of a conversation, a moment of perceived failure, a worry about what you should have done differently. When such a thought appears, see if you can meet it not with resistance, but with a gentle curiosity. Ah, there is a thought. There is a cloud. Notice its shape, its texture, its color, and then notice the voice that delivers this thought. What is its tone? Is it a harsh, sharp, cutting voice? Is it cold and dismissive? Or perhaps it's laced with anxiety, a frantic, worried whisper that warns of impending disaster. Does it sound like an authority figure from your past? A parent? A teacher? A childhood bully? Or is it a strange composite? A voice that feels uniquely and painfully your own? There is no right or wrong answer. The practice is simply to notice the quality of the sound, as if you were a sound engineer analyzing a recording. You are separating the message from the messenger just for a moment to understand its nature. This act of noticing creates a tiny sliver of space, and in that space, freedom begins. Now, let's become aware of its favorite phrases. Every inner critic has its signature lines, its greatest hits that it plays on repeat. What are they for you? Perhaps you hear phrases like, "You're not good enough," or "You always mess things up," or maybe, "Who do you think you are?" It might be more subtle. You should be further along by now. Why can't you just get it together? You're so lazy. That was a stupid thing to say. Just listen for a moment. What are the familiar refrains? As you hear them, try to see them for what they are. Not objective truths carved in stone, but habitual neurological pathways. They are old recordings, grooves worn deep in the mind from years of repetition. They are not fresh, vital, or true. They are just familiar. Seeing them as recordings, as patterns, is another way of creating space. You begin to realize this voice is not an oracle delivering profound truths about your worth. It is a machine, a predictable loop of old data. And your awareness, your gentle, non-judgmental listening, is the first step in unplugging that machine. You are not arguing with the recording. You are not trying to smash the machine. You are simply noticing, that old song is playing again. The moment you do that, you are no longer lost in the music. You are the listener, separate from the sound. You are the sky, and that phrase is just another cloud drifting by. Alongside the tone and the phrases, there is also a familiar weight that comes with this voice. A physical sensation. Can you locate it in your body? When the critic speaks, where do you feel it? Does a knot form in your stomach? Does your chest tighten, making it hard to take a full breath? Do your shoulders creep up towards your ears again? Does a feeling of heaviness settle over you like a lead blanket? Connect the thought cloud to its physical weather pattern in your body. This is crucial because it shows you, again, that this is a holistic experience, a full body pattern of tension. And just as you learned to soften the physical tension earlier, you can learn to soften your identification with the thoughts that create it. The connection between the voice and the body is a two-way street. By witnessing the voice without believing it, you can prevent the body from automatically tensing up in response. This is the core of the practice tonight. To create a separation, a gentle distance between your core self, the witness, and the voice, the pattern. Let's try it with another analogy. Imagine you are sitting in a comfortable chair by a river. The water flows by, carrying leaves, twigs, all sorts of things. The thoughts from the inner critic are like those leaves on the water. They float into your field of vision, and then they float away. Your job is not to jump into the river and grab onto a particular leaf, examining it and struggling with it. Your job is not to try and stop the river from flowing. Your job is simply to sit on the bank and watch, to watch the leaves go by. There goes a leaf of self-doubt. There's a twig of regret. Look, a leaf of worry about tomorrow. You note their presence, and you let them continue on their journey downstream. You remain on the bank, stable, calm, and dry. You are the witness on the riverbank, not the debris in the water. This practice may feel strange at first, even difficult. The habit of fusing with these thoughts, of believing them instantly, is incredibly strong. Be patient with yourself. If you find yourself in the river, struggling with a thought, the moment you realize it is the moment of waking up. With incredible gentleness, you can say to yourself, I'm in the river again, and lovingly guide yourself back to the riverbank. There is no failure here. Every time you notice you've been swept away is a success. It is a moment of pure awareness, and each time you return to the bank, you strengthen the muscle of the witness, the part of you that is free. This part of you is your true self. It is calm, spacious, and wise. It has been there all along, underneath the noise. Tonight, you are simply reintroducing yourself to it. You are remembering who you are beneath the clouds, beyond the river's current. You are the silent, loving awareness that can hold all of it, the pain, the fear, the criticism, without being destroyed by it. You are so much larger than your thoughts about yourself. You are the container for it all. And in that vastness, there is profound peace. Rest in that knowing. You are the sky, and the weather is just passing through. As you continue to rest in this space of gentle observation, watching the clouds of thought drift through the sky of your awareness, we can take another quiet step. This step involves a subtle but profound shift in understanding. It's the recognition that this voice, this inner critic, is not the truth. It is not an accurate assessment of your worth or your reality. It is a learned habit, a recording that has been playing on a loop for so long that you've mistaken its sound for the fabric of who you are. Think about how we learn things. We learn to walk, to talk, to ride a bicycle through repetition. A neural pathway is formed, and with each repetition, that pathway gets stronger, faster, more automatic. At some point, you no longer have to think about how to walk. You just do it. The pattern is deeply grooved into your system. The inner critic is just like that. It is a mental habit built from a collection of old experiences, fears, and messages you received long ago. It is a pathway in the brain that has been reinforced thousands, perhaps millions of times. It feels true because it is so familiar. It feels powerful because it is so automatic. But familiar does not mean true. Automatic does not mean you. Let's give this pattern a name, not to make it into a monster, but to do the very opposite. We name it to externalize it, to see it as a separate character in your inner world, rather than the narrator of your life. You can choose any name you like. It could be something serious, like the judge or the general. Or it could be something a little bit silly, something that helps to deflate its power. You might call it the gremlin, or Mr. Gloom, or the worry machine. Choose a name that feels right to you, one that helps you see it as a distinct pattern, a mechanism, rather than your own core identity. For the rest of our time together, when you notice that voice beginning to speak, you can gently say to yourself, "Ah, the judge is here," or "I hear the gremlin again." This simple act of naming is revolutionary. It's the difference between saying, "I am a failure," and noticing the judge is broadcasting its failure story again. Can you feel the space that opens up in that distinction? In the first statement, you are completely fused with the belief. It is your identity. In the second, you are the observer. You are the one who notices the broadcast. You are separate from it, and therefore you are not defined by it. The story is just a story. It is not your soul. By giving it a name, you are acknowledging its presence without validating its content. You are saying, "I see you. I recognize this pattern, but I no longer mistake you for the truth." This voice, this part of your experience, is not the entirety of who you are. It may be loud, it may be persistent, but it is just one part. Imagine your inner world is a vast house with many rooms. For a long time, the critic, the judge, the gremlin, has been living in the main hall, shouting, making all the noise, and convincing you that its room is the only room in the house. But it's not true. There are so many other rooms. There is a room of kindness, a room of creativity, a room of courage, a room of quiet joy, a room filled with the love you have for others, a room of resilience, a room of deep wisdom. Your true self is not the noisy resident in the main hall. Your true self is the house itself, the container that holds all of these rooms. The critic is just one part of your experience, and its voice does not have to be the only one you listen to. For many of us, this voice began as a form of protection. It was a misguided attempt by a younger part of ourselves to keep us safe. Perhaps as a child, you learned that if you criticized yourself first, it would hurt less when others did. Or maybe you learned that being hard on yourself was the way to achieve, to be better, to finally win the approval or love you so desperately needed. This voice was born from a place of fear and a deep need for safety. It was a strategy, but it was a strategy created with the limited understanding of a child or a young person navigating a confusing and sometimes painful world. It is an outdated survival strategy that is no longer serving you. In fact, it is now causing the very pain it was originally designed to prevent. Seeing it this way, as a learned, outdated habit, is not about making excuses for it or letting it run wild. It's about understanding its origin, which further helps to diffuse its power. You are not bad or broken for having this voice. You are human. You developed a coping mechanism that, like an old piece of software, is now buggy and obsolete. Your task is not to shame yourself for running this old program. Your task is simply to recognize that it is a program and that you, the user, can choose to install a new one. You can choose to listen to a different kind of inner wisdom. And it all begins with this simple recognition. This is a pattern, not the truth of me. Let this affirmation sink into your being, not as a forceful command, but as a gentle, unfolding truth. Your awareness of this voice is the first step toward freedom. Read that again in your mind. Your awareness of this voice is the first step toward freedom. It's not about fighting the voice. It's not about winning a war against it. The victory is not in its silence, but in your awareness. Every single time you notice it, without believing it, you are taking a step toward liberation. You are reclaiming your inner territory. You are remembering that you are the sky, not the cloud. You are the house, not the noisy tenant. You are the one who is aware. So, as you rest here, allow yourself to feel the significance of what you are doing. This simple, quiet act of witnessing is profound. You are interrupting a lifelong habit. You are gently loosening a knot that has been tight for years. It requires no force, no struggle. It only requires a willingness to be present and to see what is here with clarity and with a touch of kindness. Notice when the judge speaks. Acknowledge its presence with a quiet, internal nod. Hello, Judge. I hear you. And then, gently return your attention to your breath. Return your attention to the feeling of your body resting here, safe and supported. Each time you do this, you are casting a vote for a new way of being. You are telling your nervous system, we don't have to go into alarm mode just because that old recording is playing. We are safe right now. You are reparenting yourself with the gentle awareness and unconditional presence you may not have received when this pattern first began. This is the path, not a war, but a gentle, persistent turning toward a deeper truth. The truth that you are and have always been, whole and worthy, far beyond the narrow and repetitive judgments of an old, tired recording. Rest in this knowing. The awareness you are cultivating right now is the key. It is the beginning of everything. As you settle deeper into this understanding, that the critical voice is a pattern, a recording you can observe, another layer of healing can begin to unfold. It's the profound realization that you are not alone in this struggle. This internal warfare, this exhausting battle against a part of yourself, is not a unique personal failing. It is a deeply, fundamentally human experience. If we could peel back the roofs of all the houses in your town, in your city, in the world tonight, and listen to the silent internal monologues of each person lying in bed, we would hear echoes of the same war. We would hear the same fears, the same self-doubts, the same harsh judgments, just dressed in different clothes, speaking with slightly different accents. There is an immense and gentle relief in this. The shame you may have carried, believing that you were uniquely broken or flawed for having such a cruel inner voice, can begin to dissolve. Shame thrives in secrecy and isolation. It whispers, "It's just you. Everyone else has it figured out." But that is the great illusion. This struggle is part of the human condition. It is a shared shadow, a common inheritance. You are not an anomaly. You are a member of a vast and silent fellowship of people who are learning to be kinder to themselves. And in knowing this, the burden begins to lighten. It ceases to be your private, shameful secret and becomes a shared, universal challenge. Let's explore why this is so common. Our brains are wired for survival, not for happiness. For tens of thousands of years, the ancestors who survived were the ones who were hyper-vigilant about threats. They were the ones who remembered their mistakes vividly, who worried about not fitting into the tribe, who scanned the horizon for danger. This negativity bias, this tendency to focus on what's wrong or what could go wrong, is baked into our evolutionary hardware. The inner critic is, in many ways, the modern, internalized version of that ancient survival mechanism. It scans your internal world for flaws, for mistakes, for social missteps, all in a misguided attempt to keep you safe from the perceived threat of rejection, failure, or ostracism. It operates from a primitive, terrified logic. If I punish you for this mistake, you will never make it again, and then you will be safe. You will belong. You will survive. It is a distorted and painful survival strategy, but it comes from this deep, shared root of human existence. It is not your fault that your brain does this. It is what brains do. The problem is not the mechanism itself, but our relationship to it. We mistake its fearful, amplified warnings for the absolute truth. We believe the alarm bell is the fire. By understanding this shared human wiring, we can begin to depersonalize the critic's attacks. It's not about you, personally. It's about a sensitive nervous system trying to navigate a complex world using outdated software. When the judge starts its tirade, you can begin to see it not as a personal indictment, but as a flare-up of this ancient collective anxiety. You can whisper to yourself, there is that old survival instinct again. Thank you for trying to protect me, but I am safe right now. I can handle this with a different kind of wisdom. Think of it this way. The inner critic is like faulty armor. At some point in your life, you began to construct this armor, piece by piece, believing it would protect you. Each criticism you received, each moment of shame, each failure became another metal plate you riveted onto yourself. You thought, if I am heavily armored, nothing can hurt me. If I am the one holding the hammer, I can beat myself into a shape that the world will finally accept. For a while, this armor might have even seemed to work. It might have pushed you to achieve, to be perfect, to avoid risks. But over time, the armor has become incredibly heavy. It is constricting. It clanks with every step, reminding you of every past battle. It separates you from the warmth of genuine connection, from the joy of spontaneous living, from the simple peace of being yourself. It has become a prison, not a fortress. And you are not the only one wearing it. Look around with your mind's eye. So many of us are walking through life encased in this same heavy, self-made armor. We are clanking alongside each other, each believing we are the only one so burdened, so trapped. Releasing the shame around self-criticism is the act of acknowledging that everyone is wearing some version of this armor. The work is not to add more plates, to make it shinier or stronger. The work is to gently, piece by piece, begin to take it off. And you can't do that while shaming yourself for wearing it in the first place. You can only do it with compassion, with understanding for the frightened person who built it long ago, believing it was the only way to survive. You can say to that part of you, I understand why you built this. You did the best you could with what you knew at the time. You were trying to protect us, and I am so grateful for your effort. But we are safe now. The war you were preparing for is over. We don't need this heavy armor anymore. We can learn a new way to be safe, a way that is rooted in flexibility, connection, and self-compassion, not in rigidity and fear. This is how the shame dissolves, not by fighting it, but by meeting it with the gentle light of understanding. The critic is not a sign of your weakness. It is a testament to your will to survive. It is a tangled expression of your deep human longing to be safe, to be loved, and to belong. As you rest here, allow this sense of normalization to wash over you. Feel the relief of letting go of the idea that this is your unique flaw. Imagine yourself connected to a vast network of human hearts, all learning the same lesson, all learning to put down their inner weapons, all learning to gently unbuckle their armor. You are part of a great quiet turning, a collective movement away from self-aggression and toward self-compassion. This is not a journey you have to make alone. Your silent practice tonight ripples out, contributing to a field of greater kindness in the world. As you learn to be more peaceful within your own mind, you naturally bring more peace to everyone you interact with. Your healing is not just for you. It is for all of us. So let the tension of that lonely shame release from your body. Let it flow out with your next exhale. You are not on trial. There is no jury. You are simply a human being, doing your best to navigate the beautiful, messy, and often challenging experience of life. And this inner critic, this faulty armor, is just one part of that experience. It is not the truth of you. It is just the noise of an old, shared survival strategy, slowly winding down in the presence of your gentle, compassionate awareness. Rest in this fellowship. Rest in this shared humanity. You are not alone, and you have never been. Now that we have acknowledged the shared human nature of this struggle, let's turn inward once more, this time with a specific purpose. It is time to truly validate the weight of this war you have been fighting. For years, perhaps for decades, you have been living in a state of quiet, internal siege. It is a battle that no one else can see, a conflict that leaves no visible wounds, and yet it is profoundly exhausting. It is time to honor the immense energy it has taken to live this way. Think for a moment about the sheer amount of life force that has been consumed by this inner critic. Consider the energy spent replaying mistakes, anticipating criticism, and bracing for your own internal attacks. Think of the creativity that was stifled because the voice said, "That's not good enough." Think of the opportunities for joy that were missed because the voice whispered, "You don't deserve it." Think of the risks not taken, the love not fully received, the peace not fully felt, all because of this constant, grinding internal friction. This is not a small thing. This is a colossal expenditure of your precious, finite energy. It is a heavy, invisible tax levied on every single moment of your existence. And you have been paying it every single day. The emotional pain caused by this relentless voice is real. It is not imaginary. It is not an overreaction. It is the genuine pain of being constantly judged, belittled, and condemned by the one person you can never escape, yourself. It's the sharp sting of self-rejection. It's the dull, chronic ache of feeling fundamentally inadequate. It's the anxiety of living under the gaze of a merciless inner tyrant who is always watching, always waiting for you to fail. This pain registers in your nervous system just as acutely as any physical pain. It triggers the same stress responses, the same flood of cortisol and adrenaline. It keeps your body in a low-grade, perpetual state of fight or flight. Is it any wonder that you are tired? It makes perfect sense that you are tired. Let that sentence land deep within you. It makes sense that you are tired. You have been fighting a battle no one else can see. You have been holding up a shield against an enemy that lives within your own mind. You have been both the warrior and the battlefield, the attacker and the attacked. This is the most exhausting kind of conflict there is. And for so long, you have likely been telling yourself that you shouldn't be tired. The critic probably has a story about that, too. You're just lazy. Why can't you handle this? Everyone else is coping. What's wrong with you? But tonight, we are setting that story aside and replacing it with the simple, compassionate truth. You have been carrying a tremendous burden, and it is natural to feel weary from its weight. So, for a moment, let's honor your resilience. Honor the part of you that has gotten up every single morning and faced another day with this inner voice chattering in your ear. Honor the strength it has taken to go to work, to care for your family, to maintain friendships, to love, to learn, to create, all while this internal war was raging. You did not crumble. You did not give up. You are here, right now, listening to this, which is in itself an act of profound courage and hope. You are seeking a different way. That is a testament to the incredible, unshakable spirit within you that has always, always yearned for peace. Acknowledge this strength. Feel it in your bones. It is the quiet, steady fire that has kept you going even when the internal weather was stormy and cold. This is not about feeling sorry for yourself. This is not about victimhood. This is about validation. Validation is the simple, powerful act of acknowledging that your experience is real and that your feelings make sense. It's like saying to a dear friend who has been through a hard time, "Of course you feel that way." That sounds incredibly difficult. We so often offer this grace to others, but so rarely to ourselves. Tonight, you are offering it to yourself. You are looking at the landscape of your inner life and saying, "Yes, this has been hard. This has been painful. And my exhaustion is a completely valid and understandable response to what I've been through." When we fail to validate our own emotional experience, we create a second layer of suffering. First, there is the primary pain of the self-criticism itself. But then, There is the secondary pain of judging ourselves for feeling the primary pain. We tell ourselves we shouldn't feel so hurt, that we should be stronger, that we should just get over it. This is like adding insult to injury. It is a profound act of self-abandonment. Validation stops this cycle. It is an act of coming home to yourself, of standing by your own side and saying, your feelings are welcome here. Your weariness is understood. Can you feel the deep rest that becomes possible when you stop fighting your own experience? When you simply allow it to be what it is? Imagine carrying a heavy, invisible backpack filled with stones. Each stone represents a past criticism, a moment of shame, a harsh judgment you've leveled against yourself. You've been carrying this backpack for so long, you've forgotten what it feels like to stand up straight without its weight. You've grown accustomed to the ache in your shoulders and the strain in your back. Tonight, validation is the act of gently setting that backpack down on the floor beside you. You are not throwing it away or pretending it doesn't exist. You are simply acknowledging its weight and giving yourself a moment of rest. You are looking at the pile of stones and saying, wow, no wonder I'm so tired. I've been carrying all of this. In this moment of rest, of non-resistance, healing can finally begin. Your system can finally exhale. Allow yourself to feel this exhale now, a deep sigh of relief that comes from the very core of your being. Let go of the need to be strong, to be resilient, to pretend you are unaffected. Let yourself feel the truth of your exhaustion, not as a weakness, but as a testament to the long journey you have traveled. There is a deep honor in this weariness. It is the honorable exhaustion of a soldier coming home from a long, unnecessary war. It is the tiredness of a survivor, and it is the gateway to a profound and deeply deserved rest. By allowing yourself to feel this fatigue without judgment, you are finally giving your body and your soul the permission they have been waiting for. Permission to stop fighting, permission to lay down the weapons, and permission to begin the long, slow, beautiful process of healing. Rest in this validation. Rest in this truth. Your journey has been arduous, and you have done so well to make it this far. You have carried enough. It is safe to rest now. Having acknowledged the deep exhaustion and honored the resilience it took to carry this burden, we now arrive at a tender and vital space, a space for grief. This may sound like a heavy word, but grief, in this context, is not about despair. It is a cleansing, healing emotion. It is the natural response to loss. And there has been a loss here, a profound one. It is the loss of years spent in a state of self-aggression. It is the grief for the kindness you didn't give yourself, for the compassion you withheld, for the relentless and painful ways you have spoken to yourself. It is time to give yourself permission to feel the sadness for this. For so long, you may have been told to be strong, to push through, to ignore painful feelings. The inner critic is especially skilled at shutting down grief. It might say, don't be a victim, or you're just feeling sorry for yourself. But grief is not weakness. It is a fundamental part of the healing process. It is the heart's way of metabolizing pain. To deny your grief is to deny your own history, to pretend the wounds aren't there. Tonight, we are creating a safe, internal space where this gentle, healing sadness is allowed to move through you. It is an act of profound self-love to finally weep for the ways you have been hurt, especially when the hurt has come from within. Let's create this safe space in your imagination. Picture a place that feels utterly safe and peaceful to you, It could be a quiet, mossy forest with soft light filtering through the trees. It could be a calm, secluded beach at twilight, with the waves gently lapping at the shore. It could be a cozy room with a warm fireplace and a comfortable chair. Whatever this place is for you, see it in your mind's eye. Feel the safety of it. Know that in this space, you are completely protected. No one can judge you here. Nothing can harm you. This is your inner sanctuary, a place where all of your feelings are welcome. Now, in this safe place, gently call to mind the younger version of you who first started to build that armor, who first learned to be so hard on themselves. Perhaps you see a small child trying so hard to please, to be good, to earn love. Perhaps you see a teenager, awkward and uncertain, terrified of being rejected by their peers. Perhaps you see a young adult, striving and struggling, believing that perfection was the only path to safety and success. See this younger you. Look into their eyes. See their vulnerability, their fear, and their deep, unmet need for unconditional acceptance. And as you look at this younger version of yourself, let your heart open. What does it feel to see them carrying the beginnings of this heavy burden? What does it feel like to know the long, hard road that is ahead of them, the years they will spend at war with themselves? Allow any sadness that arises to be there. This is not the pain of a fresh wound. It is the cleansing sorrow of compassion. It is the sadness that arises when you finally realize how much you have been hurting. It is the grief of a parent finally seeing the pain their child has been hiding. And you are that parent. You are that loving, compassionate presence that this younger part of you has been waiting for all this time. You can offer that younger you the comfort they never received. You can say to them, silently in your heart, I am so sorry. I am so sorry for how I have spoken to you. I am so sorry for the pressure I put on you. You were only doing your best. You didn't deserve that harshness. You deserved kindness. You deserved patience. You deserved to be loved exactly as you were. As you offer these words, just notice what happens in your body. You might feel a tightness in your throat, a welling of tears behind your eyes, a deep ache in your chest. If tears come, let them flow. Tears are not a sign of breaking down. They are a sign of breaking open. They are the body's natural way of releasing old, stored-up pain. Each tear is a liquid prayer, a release of the tension you have held for so long. This is the gentle rain that begins to wash away the dust of old hurts. Allow the rain to fall. In this safe, inner sanctuary, it is completely okay to be vulnerable, to be soft, to let the armor crack open so that the healing light can get in. This grief is not just for the past, it is also for the present. It's the sadness of recognizing how this pattern of self-criticism still affects you today, how it still holds you back, still robs you of joy, still whispers its poison in your ear. It's okay to feel sad about that, to grieve for the peace that feels just out of reach sometimes. This sadness is not a sign that you are failing. It is a sign that you are waking up. You are finally feeling the true cost of this internal war. And that feeling, that deep, authentic grief, is the very thing that fuels the desire for real change. You cannot heal what you are not willing to feel. And by allowing yourself to feel this sadness now, in this safe and intentional way, you are allowing the healing process to deepen in a way it never could when you were bracing against the pain. Imagine this grief as a wave. It rises up from the deep ocean of your being. For so long, You may have tried to build a wall to stop it, but you cannot stop the ocean. The effort is exhausting and ultimately futile. Tonight, you are learning to let the wave move. You don't have to be afraid of it. It will rise, it will crest, and it will wash over the shore of your heart, and then it will recede. And when it recedes, it will take with it some of the old debris, the sharp shells, the tangled seaweed of past hurts. It will leave the shore cleaner, smoother, more peaceful than it was before. The only way to get through the wave is to let it pass through you. So, for these next few moments, just be with whatever is here. Be the safe sanctuary. Be the loving witness to your own heart. If sadness is present, let it be. If it's just a quiet ache, let it be. If nothing much is happening, that's okay too. There is no right way to do this. You are simply creating the possibility for release. You are opening the door. You are signaling to the deepest parts of yourself that it is finally safe to let go. This is an act of incredible bravery and profound tenderness. You are tending to the deepest wounds of your own heart with a kindness that may feel entirely new. And it is this kindness, this willingness to sit with your own sorrow, that will ultimately be your liberation. Rest here, in the gentle rain of your own compassion. Let it wash you clean. As the gentle rain of grief begins to cleanse the emotional landscape, let us turn our focus back to the physical body, the faithful vessel that has stored the tension of this long war. Every harsh thought, every wave of self-judgment, every moment of internal conflict has left an imprint on your physiology. It lives in the clenched jaw, the tight shoulders, the shallow breath. Now, having created a space for emotional release, we can consciously invite a corresponding physical release. We can use the breath as a powerful tool to breathe out the accumulated harshness and invite a profound sense of safety back into our own skin. Let's begin again with the breath, but this time with a gentle intention attached to the exhale. As you breathe in, imagine you are drawing in a sense of calm, clean, and peaceful energy. And as you breathe out, imagine you are releasing the physical residue of self-criticism. It's a conscious act of letting go, not forcing, not pushing, just a gentle, willing release. With each out-breath, you are giving your body permission to let go of a little more of the old tension it has been holding for so long. Bring your awareness once more to your jaw and face. This is often the front line of our internal battle, where we brace ourselves against our own attacks. As you inhale, notice any remaining tightness. As you exhale, imagine that tension dissolving like sugar in warm water. Feel the muscles of your jaw go slack. Let your lips part slightly. Allow your tongue to rest heavy and soft. With the next out-breath, release the tension from around your eyes. Let go of the need to squint, to analyze, to judge what you see, both in the outer world and the inner world. Let your forehead be smooth and wide. This is what it feels like to physically stop judging. It feels like softness in the face. Now let's move that awareness down into the throat. The throat is a channel for expression, and for so many of us, it becomes constricted by the things we don't say, both to others and to ourselves. The inner critic often chokes our authentic voice, telling us to be quiet, that what we have to say isn't valuable. This can manifest as a feeling of tightness or a lump in the throat. As you breathe, imagine your warm, gentle breath flowing through this channel, soothing and opening it. On the exhale, release the unspoken harshness, the swallowed criticisms. Imagine you are creating space for your true voice to emerge, not with a shout, but with a quiet, confident hum of authenticity. Let go of the need to censor yourself so severely. Your truth deserves to be heard, first and foremost, by you. Guide your attention now to your shoulders and your upper back. This is where we carry the weight of perceived burdens and responsibilities, especially the self-imposed burden of perfectionism. The critic tells us we must carry it all and do it all flawlessly. The body responds by hunching forward, tightening the muscles as if carrying a physical load. As you inhale, feel the breath expanding into the back of your rib cage, creating space between your shoulder blades. And as you exhale, let that entire area soften and release. Let the shoulders drop another inch, and then another. Imagine that invisible backpack of stones we talked about earlier is not just set down, but is now dissolving into dust and blowing away on the breeze of your exhale. Feel the lightness that emerges as you let go of the need to be perfect. Feel the freedom in allowing yourself to be simply, beautifully human. Now bring your awareness to your chest and your heart center. Self-criticism is a profound closing of the heart. It is an act of withholding love from yourself. This closing can feel like a tightness, a shield, or an ache in the center of your chest. Your breath may have become shallow, as if you are afraid to let the world in or afraid to let your own feelings out. Gently, with your next inhalation, invite the breath to fill your entire chest cavity. Feel your ribs expand gently in all directions, front, back, and sides. And as you exhale, sigh it out. A long, audible sigh. Ah. The sigh is one of the body's most powerful built-in release valves. It signals to the nervous system that the danger has passed and it is safe to relax. Give yourself permission to make this small sound of release. With each sigh, you are literally breathing out the harshness and making more room for warmth, for self-compassion, for the love that has always been waiting underneath the armor. Let this wave of release continue down into your solar plexus, the area of your stomach and abdomen. This is where we often feel fear and anxiety. The inner critic fuels these feelings, creating a constant, low-level sense of dread. What if you fail? What if they find out you're a fraud? This anxiety translates into a tight, knotted feeling in the gut. As you breathe in, let your belly be soft. Allow it to expand fully with the breath. For so many of us, especially if we have been criticized for our bodies, we learn to hold our stomachs in, to keep them tight and rigid. Tonight, let that go. Let your belly be soft and vulnerable. It is a profound act of self-acceptance. And as you exhale, feel that knot of anxiety gently loosening its grip. Imagine it unwinding, thread by thread, until there is just a soft, warm stillness in the center of your being. You deserve to feel safe in your own body. Let that affirmation be the mantra that accompanies your breath. With every inhale, a silent, I deserve to feel safe. With every exhale, a release of whatever is in the way of that safety. Your body is not your enemy. It is your home. It has been trying its best to keep you safe with these patterns of tension, but it has been operating on old, fearful information from the critic. Tonight, you are giving it new information. You are telling it, through your conscious breath and your intentional release, that the war is over. The ceasefire has been called. The battle is done. It is now time for peace. It is now time for rest and repair. This is not just a mental exercise. You are actively recalibrating your nervous system. You are shifting from a state of sympathetic activation, the fight or flight mode, to parasympathetic dominance, the rest and digest mode. This is the physiological state where true healing happens. It is where your cells repair, your energy is restored, and your mind can find clarity. By consciously and physically breathing out the harshness, you are creating the ideal conditions for your own profound and holistic healing. Continue this gentle rhythm of release. Every exhale is an invitation to let go more deeply, to trust more fully, and to finally come home to a place of peace within your own beautiful, deserving skin. Having tended to the body and soothed the nervous system, we can now return to the inner critic itself, but with a new lens, a new quality of attention. We are not going back to fight or to argue. We are going back with the gentle curiosity of a diplomat seeking to understand. This next step is a subtle but powerful reframing, shifting our perspective to see the critic not as a malicious monster, but as a primitive, terrified part of you. A part that is desperately, albeit clumsily, trying to keep you safe through control and fear. This is not about condoning its harsh words or excusing the pain it has caused. The pain is real. The harshness is damaging. This is about understanding the mechanism in order to diffuse its power. When you see it as a monster, your only options are to fight it, flee from it, or freeze in its presence. All of these responses feed it with energy and attention, keeping the cycle of conflict alive. But when you can begin to see it as a frightened, misguided protector, a new possibility emerges. Compassion. Not agreement, not forgiveness in the traditional sense, but a compassionate understanding that disarms it. Let's try to understand its misguided intention. Imagine a poorly trained guard dog that barks ferociously at everything. The mail carrier, a falling leaf, your closest friends. The dog's intention is to protect the house. It is doing its job based on its limited, fearful understanding of the world. It believes every unfamiliar thing is a threat. You wouldn't get angry at the dog and start barking back at it. That would only make it more agitated. You would, with patience and wisdom, work to reassure it, to show it what is a real threat and what is not. You would soothe its anxiety so it could learn to relax its guard. The inner critic is like that guard dog. It is barking at perceived threats. The threat of failure, of rejection, of not being good enough, of being abandoned. Its methods are terrible. Its barking is painful and exhausting. But its core intention, deep beneath the layers of harshness, is a desperate attempt at protection. The critic's harshness comes from a deep, misguided fear. It believes that the only way to motivate you is through shame. It believes that the only way to prevent you from making a mistake is to punish you relentlessly for past ones. It believes that if it can just make you perfect, then you will finally be safe. You will finally be loved, and you will never have to experience the pain of rejection again. It operates with the black and white, catastrophic logic of a terrified child. It doesn't understand nuance. It doesn't understand that true safety comes from self-acceptance, not perfection. It doesn't understand that true motivation comes from inspiration and self-compassion, not from fear and shame. It is doing the only thing it knows how to do, using the only tools it has ever had: fear, control, and judgment. When you hear its voice now, see if you can listen for the fear underneath the words. When it says, "You're going to fail," can you hear the deeper, quieter whisper beneath it that says, "I'm terrified of what will happen if you fail"? I'm scared you won't be able to handle the pain of that. When it says, don't even try, you're not good enough. Can you hear the terrified child's voice saying, please don't get hurt. It's safer if we just stay small and don't take any risks. When it criticizes your appearance, can you hear the fear of not being accepted, of not being loved? This practice of listening for the underlying fear is transformative. It shifts you from being the victim of the critic's attack to being the compassionate witness of its pain. You can even begin a gentle internal dialogue. When the critic, the judge, the gremlin, starts its familiar script, you don't have to believe it, and you don't have to fight it. You can simply acknowledge the fear behind it. You could say, silently, I hear you. I know you're scared right now. Thank you for trying to protect me. I understand you're worried about me failing, but I've got this. We are safe. This is not an argument. It's a reassurance. It's like placing a calming hand on the shoulder of a frantic, worried friend. You are not validating the criticism. You are validating the underlying emotion of fear. And when fear feels seen and understood, it begins to lose its charge. It begins to settle down. This reframing is not about making the critic your best friend. It is about changing your relationship with it from one of adversarial conflict to one of wise leadership. You are the wise, calm adult in your inner system. The critic is the anxious, reactive part. Your job is to take the lead, not by overpowering it, but by calmly and compassionately refusing to get drawn into its fearful narrative. You are essentially saying, I hear your concern, but I am in charge now, and we are going to proceed with kindness and wisdom, not with fear. This changes everything. You are no longer at the mercy of its alarms. You become the one who can hear the alarm, check to see if there is a real fire, and if there isn't, calmly turn it off and reassure the system that all is well. Consider the tremendous freedom in this. You no longer need to spend your energy resisting this voice. Resistance is a form of engagement that keeps the battle going. Instead, you can channel that energy into understanding and reassurance. This is a far more effective and far less exhausting strategy. You are not trying to get rid of this part of you. In fact, trying to get rid of a part of yourself is the very essence of self-aggression, the very habit we are trying to heal. Instead, you are integrating it. You are bringing it back into the fold, understanding its role, and giving it a new job. Its old job was to be the harsh, critical guard. Its new job is simply to be a signal, an indicator that there is a part of you that is feeling scared. And when the signal goes off, your new response is not to panic or self-flagellate, but to offer compassion and reassurance. This is a practice, and it takes time. The habit of believing the critic is strong. But every time you choose to see the fear instead of the fury, every time you choose to offer a moment of understanding instead of an argument, you are weakening the old neural pathway and building a new one. A pathway of self-compassion, of inner leadership, and of profound, unshakable peace. Rest with this new perspective. Let it settle into your heart. The voice that has haunted you is not a monster. It is a frightened child, a poorly trained guard dog, an outdated survival program. And you, the wise and compassionate awareness that you are, have the capacity to hold it, to understand it, and to gently lead it and all of yourself toward a new and lasting peace. Having met the inner critic with understanding, we now create a space for a different voice to emerge. This voice has always been there, within you, but it has likely been drowned out by the critic's constant noise. It is the quiet, steady voice of compassion, of wisdom, of your own innate goodness. It does not shout. It whispers. It does not judge. It accepts. It does not demand. It invites. Tonight, our practice is to simply tune our listening to this gentler frequency. We are not manufacturing a new voice from scratch. We are simply creating the silence needed to finally hear the one that has been patiently waiting. To connect with this voice, let's start with something you already know how to do. Bring to mind someone in your life whom you love deeply. It could be a dear friend, a family member, a child, or even a beloved pet. Picture them clearly in your mind. Now, imagine this person is going through a difficult time. They've made a mistake, they are feeling discouraged, and they are being incredibly hard on themselves. They come to you, their heart heavy, and tell you all the harsh things they are thinking about themselves. The very same things your own inner critic often tells you. What would you do? How would you respond? Listen to the voice that naturally arises within you in that moment. Notice its tone. It is likely warm, gentle, and patient. Notice the words it chooses. They are probably words of reassurance, of kindness, of perspective. You might say, "It's okay. Everyone makes mistakes. This doesn't change who you are." Or, "You're being so hard on yourself. Please be gentle. You are doing the best you can." Or simply, "I am here for you. I love you no matter what." That voice, that warm, wise, compassionate voice that you so easily and naturally offer to others, that is the voice we are talking about. It is already a part of you. Your capacity for kindness is immense. The only thing that needs to change is the direction in which you offer it. It is time you offered some to yourself. Now, let's try a gentle experiment. In your mind, bring up a small, recent moment where your inner critic was particularly active. It doesn't need to be a major trauma, just a simple, everyday instance. Perhaps you were late for something, or you said something awkward in a conversation, or you didn't complete a task as perfectly as you had hoped. Feel the familiar sting of the critic's words for just a moment. And now, pause, take a gentle breath, and consciously invite that other voice to speak. The same voice you would use with your beloved friend. What would it say to you in this moment? Perhaps it would whisper, "It's all right. It was a small thing. You are human." Or, "You were juggling so much today. It makes sense that you forgot." Or, "That conversation was a little awkward, but it's over now. You can let it go. It doesn't define you." Feel the difference in your body as you hear these words. Feel the softening, the release, the subtle wave of peace that comes from being met with kindness instead of condemnation. This is not about making excuses or denying reality. It is about holding your reality within a container of compassion. It is the difference between a harsh, glaring spotlight that exposes every flaw and a soft, warm candle flame that illuminates your being with gentle acceptance. This compassionate voice is the voice of your own deeper wisdom. It knows that you are more than your mistakes. It knows that your worth is inherent and unchanging. It knows that you are a being in process, constantly learning and growing. The critic operates from a place of fear and contraction. This voice operates from a place of love and expansion. It is the inner equivalent of a loving parent, a wise mentor, or a steadfast friend. It is the part of you that knows how to heal. For a long time, the critic has been at the steering wheel of your inner world, driving you erratically with jabs of fear and shame. Inviting the compassionate voice is like gently asking the critic to move to the passenger seat. You, the wise self, are now taking the wheel, guided by this quieter, steadier voice. Another way to connect with this voice is to think of a small child, perhaps yourself as a child. Imagine that little one has fallen and scraped their knee. They are crying, not just from the physical pain, but from the shock and the fear. The inner critic's response would be to yell at the child, "See? I told you not to run. You're so clumsy. Now look what you've done." Can you feel the cruelty and utter ineffectiveness of that response? It only adds shame to the child's pain. Now, imagine what the compassionate voice, the voice of a loving caregiver, would do. It would kneel down. It would speak in a soft, soothing tone. It would say, "Oh, sweetie, that looks like it hurts. Let's get you cleaned up. It's okay to cry. You were just having fun, and you took a tumble. It happens. You are safe now." You are that child. Every time you struggle, every time you fail, a part of you feels like that child with the scraped knee. You are in pain. You are frightened, and you are in need of comfort. The single most powerful healing act you can perform is to learn to be that loving caregiver for yourself. To kneel down to your own pain, to speak to yourself with tenderness, and to offer the reassurance that you are safe, that you are okay, and that this moment of pain does not define your worth. Your capacity for this is already within you. You know exactly how to do it. You have simply been taught that it was selfish or indulgent to offer it to yourself. But it is not an indulgence. It is a necessity. It is the very foundation of resilience, courage, and a life of peace. Let this affirmation settle into your heart and mind. My capacity for kindness is immense. It is time I offered some to myself. Repeat it silently. Feel the truth of it. You hold a vast reservoir of kindness within you. You have poured it out for so many others throughout your life. It has not been depleted. You can now turn that gentle stream inward. It is not selfish. In fact, as you fill your own well, you will find you have even more to offer the world. An offering that comes from a place of fullness and authenticity, not from a place of depletion and striving. As you lie here, resting in the quiet, simply listen. In the space between your thoughts, in the stillness beneath the noise, can you hear the whisper of this kinder voice? It may be faint at first, like a distant melody, but the more you listen for it, the more you honor it, the clearer and stronger it will become, until one day it is the most natural and guiding voice in your inner world. This is the voice of your true home, and it is welcoming you back. Now that we have begun to tune our ears to the whisper of this kinder voice, we can undertake a gentle but profound practice of healing. We can begin to rewrite an old story. Our memories are not fixed, static recordings of the past. They are dynamic, living things, and our relationship to them can change. The emotional charge of a memory is often determined by the story we tell ourselves about it, a story that has, until now, likely been narrated exclusively by the inner critic. Tonight, we are going to invite our compassionate voice, the wise self, to become the new narrator for a moment in the past, offering the comfort and perspective that were needed then, but were not available. This is not about changing what happened. The facts of the event remain. This is about changing the meaning you made from it. It's about bringing the healing resources of your present self back in time to meet a younger you who was hurting and alone. It is an act of inner alchemy, transforming the lead of old pain into the gold of self-compassion. Let's begin by gently recalling a past moment where the inner critic was particularly loud and cruel. Choose a memory that is significant but not overwhelming. Not the deepest trauma, but a memory with a distinct emotional sting. Perhaps it was a time you felt embarrassed in front of others, or received a poor grade, or were rejected in a relationship, or made a mistake at work. A moment where the voice of not good enough was screaming in your ears. Allow the memory to surface gently. Don't force it. Just set the intention and see what your mind offers. As the scene begins to form, stay grounded in your present moment safety. Feel the support of your bed, the rhythm of your breath. You are not reliving this moment. You are visiting it as a compassionate observer. You are the wise adult going back to visit a younger version of yourself who is in distress. See the scene unfold. See yourself in that situation at that age. See the expression on your face, the posture of your body. Remember the feelings that were present, the shame, the fear, the disappointment, the loneliness, and then hear the voice of the inner critic as it was then. Hear its harsh words, its brutal judgments. You're so stupid. You'll never get it right. Everyone is laughing at you. You've ruined everything. Acknowledge the pain of that moment. Acknowledge how deeply those words hurt, how they landed in your system and became a part of the heavy armor you carried. For a moment, just validate the pain of that younger you. Of course that was painful. Of course you felt ashamed. That was a truly difficult moment. Now, here is the turning point. Imagine your present self, imbued with the wisdom and compassion you have been cultivating, stepping into that scene. You are invisible to everyone else there, but you are completely present for that younger version of you. Walk over to them. Perhaps you place a gentle, reassuring hand on their shoulder. Or perhaps you just sit beside them, your presence a silent statement of solidarity and love. You are here now. They are no longer alone in this painful moment. And now, from this place of grounded, loving presence, speak to them. Apply the new, compassionate voice to this old memory. Offer the comfort that you needed so desperately then. What did that younger you need to hear? What words would have been a healing balm to their wounded spirit? Perhaps you whispered to them, "This feels huge right now, I know. But this moment does not define you. Your worth is so much bigger than this mistake." Or, "You were brave for even trying. It takes courage to be vulnerable, and I am so proud of you for that." Or, "The words of others and your own harsh thoughts are not the truth of who you are. You are good, you are worthy, and you are deeply loved, right here, right now, in this mess." Or simply, "I'm with you. I'm not going anywhere. We will get through this together." Let your own heart guide the words. Speak the truth that you now know, but that you couldn't access back then. As you offer these words of compassion and wisdom, watch what happens to that younger you in your imagination. Do you see their shoulders relax? Do you see the tension in their face soften? Do you see a glimmer of relief in their eyes? Imagine them leaning into your presence, absorbing your kindness like a thirsty plant absorbs water. Imagine giving them a hug, holding them until they feel safe and grounded again. You are literally reparenting yourself in this memory. You are providing the secure, loving attachment that was missing in that moment of distress. You are changing the emotional ending of the story. The old story ended with you alone, steeped in shame, with the critic's voice as the only truth. The new story ends with you being met by your own wise, loving self. It ends with comfort. It ends with reassurance. It ends with connection. The facts of the event haven't changed, but the emotional imprint it left on your nervous system can begin to heal. You are realizing, in a deep and embodied way, that you have the power to bring healing to your own past within the landscape of your mind. You can go back to any number of these scraped knee moments from your life and apply this compassionate first aid. You can become your own inner healer, your own wise elder, your own most steadfast friend. This practice demonstrates a profound truth. You are not trapped by your past. Your past lives within you, but you are not its prisoner. You have the agency to change your relationship to it. Each time you perform this act of compassionate revisioning, you are loosening the grip of old pain. You are showing your brain and your nervous system that a different response is possible. You are building a new neural pathway, one that leads not to shame and contraction, but to compassion and resilience. The old stories, narrated by the critic, kept you small and afraid. These new stories, narrated by your compassionate self, allow you to integrate your experiences and grow from them. They become sources of wisdom, not sources of shame. As you continue to rest, let the resonance of this healing encounter fill you. Feel the sense of wholeness that comes from reclaiming a lost part of yourself. That younger you is not a source of shame to be hidden away. They are a part of your history to be held with love. By offering them comfort, you are comforting the very roots of the pain that still lives within you today. This is not a one-time fix, but a practice you can return to again and again. It is a way of tending to your inner garden, gently pulling the weeds of self-criticism and planting the seeds of self-love. Rest in the knowledge that you are a powerful healer. The love you needed has been within you all along, waiting for you to turn your attention inward and offer it to the one who has always deserved it most, yourself. Having brought the light of compassion to a past hurt, let us now broaden our focus. The inner critic maintains its power by creating a distorted and highly selective narrative about who you are. It is like a biased documentarian, collecting only the evidence of your mistakes, your flaws, and your shortcomings, and then presenting this skewed collection as the complete and final truth of your identity. It conveniently ignores the vast library of evidence to the contrary. Tonight, we will begin to consciously and deliberately counterbalance this distorted narrative. We will practice the simple but radical act of remembering your goodness. This is not about arrogance or ego. This is about balance. It is about presenting a fair and more accurate case for yourself. It's about acknowledging the whole truth, not just the painful parts that the critic chooses to highlight. Your inherent goodness is not something you have to earn. It is the fundamental fabric of who you are. The practice is simply to remember it, to bring moments of its expression into the light of your awareness, allowing them to take up their rightful space in the story of you. Let's begin by calling to mind small, simple moments of your own inherent goodness. We are not looking for grand, heroic deeds. The critic can easily dismiss those as flukes or exceptions. We are looking for the small, undeniable, everyday moments that reveal the quality of your heart. Let your mind drift back over the last week or the last month. Bring to mind a time when you were kind to someone without any expectation of reward. Perhaps you held a door open for a stranger. Perhaps you offered a genuine smile to a cashier who looked tired. Maybe you listened patiently while a friend needed to talk, even though you were busy. Or maybe you were gentle with an animal or tended to a plant. Just choose one small moment of kindness. Settle on it. Replay it in your mind, not from a place of self-congratulation, but from a place of simple, factual observation. See the scene. See the other person or being. Feel the quality of that moment in your body. There was an impulse of generosity, of connection, of warmth that moved through you. It was not calculated. It was natural. That impulse is a part of who you are. That kindness is a thread in the tapestry of your being. Let yourself feel the quiet, gentle warmth of that memory. This is also you. This is just as true, if not more true, than the critic's harsh judgments. Acknowledge it. Yes, that was me. That kindness is in me. Now, let's call to mind a moment of patience. Think of a time you were in a frustrating situation, perhaps stuck in traffic, waiting in a long line, or dealing with a difficult person or a malfunctioning piece of technology. And for a moment, you chose patience. You took a deep breath. You chose not to react with anger or frustration. You accessed a place of calm within yourself. Remember that moment. Feel the sensation of choosing a pause over a reaction. That capacity for patience, for stillness in the face of irritation, is a strength. It is a form of wisdom. It is a part of your character. It is evidence that you are not just a bundle of reactive impulses, as the critic might suggest. You have a core of stillness within you. Acknowledge this truth. Yes, I have the capacity for patience. That strength is in me. Let's remember a time you were brave. Again, we are not looking for a Hollywood moment. Bravery often shows up in the quietest ways. Perhaps you spoke your truth in a situation where it would have been easier to stay silent. Maybe you set a boundary with someone, even though it was uncomfortable. Perhaps you tried something new, knowing you might not be good at it at first. Or maybe you simply got out of bed and faced the day on a morning when anxiety or sadness felt overwhelming. That is a profound form of courage. Choose one such moment of quiet bravery. Feel the flicker of fear that was present, and then feel the deeper resolve that allowed you to act anyway. That resolve, that courage, is yours. It is a part of your essential nature. Let the feeling of that quiet strength resonate within you. Let it be a counterpoint to the critic's narrative of weakness or inadequacy. Yes, I am brave. That courage lives in me. These memories of kindness, of patience, of courage are not meant to inflate your ego. They are meant to restore your perspective. The critic has been holding a magnifying glass up to every single flaw, making them seem enormous and all-encompassing. We are simply putting down that magnifying glass and looking at the whole picture with clear eyes. For every mistake you have made, there are 1,000 small moments of goodness you have forgotten. For every harsh word you have spoken, there are 1,000 acts of quiet kindness you have offered. Your life is not defined by its worst moments. It is defined by the totality of your being, and that totality is filled with light. Let this affirmation sink in. You have done so much good in this world just by being you. Your very presence has an impact. Your smile, your moment of patience in a checkout line, your gentle word to a friend. These small acts ripple out in ways you will never know. They are not insignificant. They are the very substance of a good life. They are the currency of a loving heart. The critic wants you to believe that your worth is conditional, that it must be proven through grand achievements and flawless performance. The truth is that your worth is inherent, and your goodness is expressed in the simple, humble, and beautiful ways you move through your days. As you rest here, allow these memories of your own goodness to be like gentle lights, dotting the inner landscape of your mind. See them as a constellation, a pattern of light that has always been there, even on the cloudiest nights. The critic tried to convince you that the sky was only darkness and storm clouds, but tonight you are remembering the stars. You are remembering your own light. You are not perfect. You are human. And your humanity is a beautiful, complex mixture of shadow and light. By consciously turning your attention to the light, you do not deny the shadow. You simply bring it into balance. You create a more whole, more integrated, and far more truthful picture of who you are. Rest in the quiet, gentle glow of your own remembered goodness. It is your truth. It is your home. As we gather these memories of your inherent goodness, a new foundation begins to form within you. It is a foundation built not on the shifting sands of external validation or flawless performance, but on the solid ground of self-acceptance and self-compassion. From this emerging stability, we can explore a profound and often counterintuitive idea that true strength, true resilience, does not come from self-punishment, but from self-compassion. For so long, the inner critic has operated under a powerful illusion, a belief that being hard on yourself is the only way to be strong, to be successful, to be resilient. It's the logic of the drill sergeant. I must break you down to build you up. But we are not machines or soldiers in boot camp. We are sensitive, biological beings. And for us, this logic is fundamentally flawed. It does not build us up. It grinds us down. Let's explore why. When you berate yourself after a mistake or a failure, what happens in your body? Your nervous system floods with cortisol and adrenaline, the hormones of the stress response. Your mind becomes fixated on the threat, entering a state of tunnel vision. This is the physiological state of fear and survival. In this state, there is no room for learning, for creativity, for perspective, or for growth. You are simply trying to survive the internal attack. Piling self-criticism on top of the pain of failure is like trying to put out a fire by throwing gasoline on it. It only intensifies the suffering and makes it much harder to get up and try again. It is a recipe for anxiety, depression, and paralysis. Now consider the alternative. Imagine you make a mistake, and instead of attacking yourself, you meet yourself with the gentle, compassionate voice we have been cultivating. You say to yourself, "Wow, that was really difficult. It's okay to feel disappointed. This is a painful experience." What happens in your body then? Instead of cortisol, you activate the release of oxytocin, the hormone of bonding and safety. Your nervous system begins to calm down. Your heart rate slows. You feel a sense of being cared for and supported, even if it's just by yourself. From this state of physiological safety, your mind can relax. The tunnel vision opens up. You can see the situation with more clarity. You can learn from the mistake without being defined by it. You can access your inner resources of creativity and problem solving. This is the physiological state of true resilience. Self-compassion is not a weakness. It is a powerful biological tool for creating the internal conditions necessary for growth and recovery. Think of the analogy of a river and a stone. A river shapes the hardest stone and carves canyons not through brute, explosive force, but through persistence and flow. It is a quiet, relentless power. Gentleness, in this same way, is not passive or weak. It is a persistent, flowing strength that can soften the hardest parts of ourselves, the parts that have been calcified by fear and self-judgment. The critic's approach is like taking a hammer to the stone. It may chip off a few pieces, but it will more likely just fracture the whole thing, leaving it weaker and more brittle. The compassionate approach is like the steady, flowing water that smooths the rough edges, reveals the stone's inherent beauty, and integrates it into the landscape. Which approach feels more like true, sustainable strength? The belief that we need to be hard on ourselves is a cultural myth, one that many of us have internalized so deeply that we don't even question it. We fear that if we are kind to ourselves, we will become lazy, self-indulgent, and complacent. We think we will lose our edge. But the research, and more importantly, our own lived experience, show the very opposite. People who practice self-compassion have been shown to be more motivated, not less. Their motivation comes from a desire to grow and alleviate their own suffering, which is a far more sustainable fuel than the fear of not being good enough. They have less fear of failure, which makes them more willing to take healthy risks and try new things. They are more resilient in the face of setbacks because they don't get stuck in the downward spiral of shame. They are able to pick themselves up, learn the lesson, and move forward with their self-worth intact. As you lie here, feel the foundation of your own self-worth beginning to solidify within you. It is not a loud, arrogant confidence. It is a quiet, deep knowing. A knowing that you are worthy of care, especially when you are struggling. A knowing that your value as a human being is not up for debate. It is a given. This is the shift from conditional self-esteem, which is based on your performance and others' opinions, to unconditional self-worth. Conditional self-esteem is a roller coaster. It goes up when you succeed and plummets when you fail. It is an exhausting and precarious way to live. Unconditional self-worth is the ground beneath the roller coaster. It is stable, steady, and always there, regardless of your triumphs or your stumbles. Self-compassion is the path to that solid ground. You are learning that your greatest ally in life is not your inner critic, but your inner companion. The critic promises strength, but delivers anxiety. The companion promises kindness and delivers true resilience. You are learning to trust this new source of strength. It may feel unfamiliar at first, like using a muscle you haven't used in a long time. It may feel vulnerable to be so gentle with yourself. That is okay. That is part of the process. Stay with it. Every time you choose a thought of self-kindness over a thought of self-judgment, you are doing a push-up for your compassion muscle. You are strengthening your core of resilience. Feel this quiet power growing within you. It is the strength to be imperfect, the strength to be vulnerable, the strength to begin again and again and again with your spirit intact. This is not the brittle strength of armor, which shatters under pressure. This is the flexible, enduring strength of a tree that bends in the wind, but whose roots hold firm in the earth. Your roots are your inherent worth. And the practice of self-compassion is the water that allows those roots to grow deep and strong, anchoring you in a peace that no external storm can ever truly shake. Rest in this feeling of gentle, unshakable strength. It is who you are. It has been waiting for you all along. As we draw the threads of our journey together, we arrive at a place of integration, of making peace. Through this process, you have witnessed the critic, understood its misguided intentions, grieved its impact, and begun to cultivate a kinder, wiser voice. Now, we can formalize this shift by creating a new internal agreement, a kind of inner peace treaty. This is not a treaty born from defeating an enemy, but one born from wisdom, understanding, and a profound rebalancing of your inner world. First, let's acknowledge a gentle truth. The critic, that old pattern of thought, may never vanish completely. It is, after all, a deeply grooved neural pathway. There may always be moments, especially when you are tired or stressed, when that old familiar voice tries to make itself heard. And that is okay. The goal of this journey was never to achieve a state of perfect, silent bliss where no negative thought ever arises again. That would be an unrealistic and therefore unkind goal. The goal is not eradication, but integration. The victory is not its silence, but your non-reaction. The peace comes from the fact that you no longer believe it. You no longer mistake its voice for the truth. The volume of the critic can be turned way down. Its appearances can become less frequent, and its words can lose their sting. Imagine it like a heckler at the back of a large concert hall. In the past, this heckler had a megaphone and was standing right next to your ear, and you believed every word it said. Now, the heckler is still there, perhaps, but its megaphone is gone. It's just a faint, grumpy muttering in the distance. And you, the conductor of your own life, are on stage, fully engaged in the beautiful music you are creating, guided by the wise and compassionate voice that has become the dominant melody. You can hear the muttering, perhaps, but it no longer has the power to stop the symphony. This is the new relationship. It is one of peaceful coexistence, where wisdom is in the driver's seat. Let's visualize this inner peace treaty. Picture your inner world as a council room. For a long time, the critic, the judge, has been sitting at the head of the table, holding the gavel, dominating every meeting. Other parts of you, your creativity, your joy, your vulnerability, your inner child, were either shouted down or were too afraid to even show up. Now, picture a change. At the head of the table, there is a new presence. It is your wise, compassionate self, the self you have been connecting with tonight. This self is calm, grounded, and radiates a quiet, unshakable authority that comes not from force, but from love and wisdom. It holds the gavel now, but it does so with gentle intention. Now, see the critic. It is still in the room, but it has a different seat. It is no longer at the head of the table. It has been moved to a smaller chair off to the side. It is recognized as a member of the council. Its role as the director of risk assessment is acknowledged, but its power has been rightfully curtailed. Its job is to raise concerns, to point out potential dangers, but its voice is no longer the deciding vote. When it speaks, it must do so respectfully, and its concerns are listened to by the wise self at the head of the table. The wise self hears the concern, which is often rooted in fear, and says, "Thank you for that input. I hear your fear about this situation. I will take your concern under advisement, and we will proceed with courage and wisdom." Notice the difference. The critic is no longer the tyrant, it is an advisor. And often, a rather anxious and unreliable one at that. But its input is heard and then integrated into a much larger, wiser perspective. All the other parts of you can now safely come to the table. Your inner child can express its needs for play and safety. Your creative part can share its bold new ideas without fear of being shamed. Your vulnerability can show up, knowing it will be protected. Your joy has a voice. The council is now balanced, harmonious, and led by the loving wisdom of your true self. This is the new governance of your inner world. This is the peace treaty in action. It's a shift from a dictatorship of fear to a democracy of the soul, led by a benevolent guide. As you rest here tonight, feel this new inner alignment taking root. Honor the profound journey you have taken to get here. This has not been a passive experience of just listening. You have engaged in a deep act of self-love. You have shown up for yourself. You have faced the shadows with courage and compassion. You have chosen a new way. This is perhaps the most important work any of us can ever do. To transform our inner world from a battlefield into a sanctuary. To learn to be our own staunchest ally, our own kindest companion. Every moment of this journey, every breath, every tear, every gentle thought has been a step toward this peace. Acknowledge the significance of this. You are changing the habits of a lifetime. You are healing wounds that may be generations deep. This is monumental. And this treaty is not a rigid contract. It is a living, breathing agreement that you will renew each day with your intention. You will renew it each time you catch the critic's voice and choose not to believe it. You will renew it each time you offer yourself a moment of kindness when you are struggling. You will renew it each time you remember your own goodness. This is not about achieving a final, perfect state. It is about a continuous, graceful practice of returning again and again to this place of inner peace, to the leadership of your own compassionate heart. This practice is your anchor in a changing world. It is the source of a strength that can never be taken from you. It is the path to coming home. Let the feeling of this inner harmony be the landscape in which you fall asleep tonight. A landscape where all parts of you are welcome, where wisdom is on the throne, and where you are finally, deeply, and irrevocably at peace with the one person you will spend your entire life with, yourself. With this inner peace treaty signed in the quiet chambers of your heart, the landscape of your mind begins to transform. The old territory, once a fraught and contested battlefield, now settles into a place of quiet refuge. Your inner space is becoming a calm, safe harbor for the night. As sleep approaches, there is a gentle release of all the work we have done. The time for analysis, for practice, for conscious reframing is now drawing to a close. The only task that remains is to simply be, to rest within this newfound peace and allow it to hold you as you drift into deep, restorative sleep. Imagine your mind as a calm lake at twilight. Earlier, it may have been choppy, stirred up by the winds of self-criticism and anxiety. But now, the wind has died down. The surface of the lake grows still, glassy, reflecting the soft, fading light of the sky. There is a profound stillness here. Any thoughts that arise now are like gentle ripples, spreading out and dissolving back into the vast, silent water. There is no need to follow them, no need to analyze them, no need to do anything about them at all. You can simply watch them come and go from the peaceful shore of your awareness. You have done enough. You have journeyed so far tonight, from the exhaustion of war to the quiet dignity of this inner peace. Now is the time for integration. And this happens most deeply when you are not trying. It happens in the effortless state of rest. Just as a garden integrates the rain and sun after a day of active tending, your mind and body will now integrate the kindness and awareness you have cultivated. This happens below the level of conscious thought, in the deep, mysterious wisdom of your sleeping self. All you need to do is grant yourself permission to completely let go. Release the need to fix anything further. Release the need to hold on to any particular insight. Release even the desire to have a good night's sleep. Let go of all striving. Let go of all effort. There is nothing left to figure out tonight. The answers you seek are not found in more thinking. They are found in the stillness that lies beneath the thinking. The peace you crave is not something you must construct. It is your natural state, which reveals itself when the internal noise subsides. You are simply allowing yourself to return to that natural state. Feel the quiet hum of peace beginning to replace the familiar noise of internal conflict. It may be a very subtle sensation at first, a feeling of spaciousness behind your eyes, a sense of warmth and settling in your chest, a feeling of heaviness in your limbs as they sink ever more deeply into the support beneath you. This is the physical signature of peace. It is your nervous system's sigh of relief. As you rest in this harbor, you can feel a sense of safety that is not dependent on anything external. It is a safety that you have generated from within. You have become your own safe space. You have learned that you can hold your own pain with compassion. You have discovered that you can be your own source of comfort and reassurance. This is the anchor that will hold you steady, not just tonight, but through all the nights and days to come. Whatever tomorrow may bring, its joys, its challenges, you will face it from this new foundation of inner friendship. You will not be facing it alone. You will be facing it with the wise, loving companion that lives within you. Let the boundaries of your body begin to soften. Feel where your physical self ends and the space around you begins. As you relax more deeply, that boundary can feel less distinct. Imagine you could breathe out through the pores of your skin, releasing any final vestiges of tension into the air around you. Imagine you could breathe in the quiet, peaceful energy of the room, letting it fill every cell of your body. You are a part of the quiet of the night. You are merging with the stillness that surrounds you. You are safe. You are held. You are whole. There is no need to hold on to your identity so tightly. For these precious hours of sleep, you can let go of your name, your history, your roles, your responsibilities. Let them all rest on the shore of the calm lake. You can pick them up again in the morning, refreshed and renewed. For now, you are simply awareness, a peaceful, resting awareness, drifting in a vast and quiet ocean of being. The waves of this ocean are your own gentle breaths, rising and falling, carrying you further and further away from the shores of the busy, thinking mind and out into the deep, healing waters of sleep. The quiet hum of peace is becoming the only sound. The inner conflict has faded to a distant memory. The old stories have lost their power. Here, in this safe harbor, there is only this moment, this breath, the feeling of your body heavy and relaxed, the gentle pull of sleep, like a soft, invisible tide, drawing you out into its embrace. You have earned this rest. You have cleared the space for it. Now, all that is left is to surrender to it, to trust that you will be held and restored, to allow yourself to be carried into the deep, healing silence where your soul can finally, truly come home to rest. This mind, your mind, is a safe harbor, and you are the keeper of its peace. Drifting now on the gentle tide of this deep and profound peace you have cultivated. The words themselves are becoming part of the quiet, part of the background. Just sounds that are here to accompany you as you let go completely. There is nothing more to learn, nothing more to understand. There is only the feeling of this moment, this soft, warm, and gentle descent into the healing darkness of sleep. Isn't it a quiet miracle, this journey you have taken tonight? You began in a state of silent, exhausting war, a place so familiar it may have felt like home. And now, you are here, in a place of truce, a place of calm, a place that is your true and rightful home. What changed? The world outside did not change. The circumstances of your life did not change. The only thing that changed was the quality of your attention, the direction of your love. You simply decided to turn your gaze inward, not with judgment, but with a gentle, curious kindness. And in that simple, revolutionary act, everything shifted. Perhaps this is the greatest power we possess as human beings. Not the power to control the world around us, but the power to transform the world within us. The power to choose peace over conflict, to choose compassion over condemnation, to choose connection over alienation right inside our own skin. You have experienced this power tonight. You have felt its truth resonate in your very bones, in the softening of your muscles, in the deepening of your breath. This is not a concept. It is a felt reality. It is your reality now. As you drift even deeper, consider the beautiful paradox of this work. To finally stop hating yourself, you did not have to become someone else. You did not have to become more perfect, more successful, more disciplined. You only had to become more yourself. You had to peel back the layers of judgment and fear to uncover the wise, compassionate, and resilient being that has been there all along. The healing was not an act of addition, but an act of subtraction, a letting go of all the stories that were never true, a letting go of the heavy armor that was never really you. And what is left is this quiet, this wholeness, this peace. You are whole, right now, in this moment, just as you are. The parts of you that you have judged as flawed or broken are not mistakes. They are simply parts of your story. They are the places where the light gets in. They are the experiences that have carved out the capacity for the very compassion you are feeling right now. Without the shadows, you would not know the profound beauty of your own light. Without the inner critic, you would not have undertaken this sacred journey to discover your own inner kindness. It is all part of the tapestry. All of it belongs. You are enough. You have always been enough. Your worth was never in question. It was only your belief in it that wavered. Tonight, you have chosen to believe again, not in a loud, boastful way, but in a quiet, steady, and unshakable way. It is the knowing that you are a unique expression of life itself, inherently worthy of love, of rest, and of peace, simply because you exist. Let this knowing be the final thought that dissolves into the silence of sleep. You are enough. And you are safe to let go. The night will hold you. Your breath will continue its steady, faithful rhythm. A lullaby from your own body. Your heart will continue to beat, a quiet drum of life. The wise, healing intelligence within you will do its work while you rest, repairing your body, consolidating your learning, and integrating this new piece into the very fabric of your being. You do not need to manage any of it. You can surrender your vigilance. You can trust the process. You are safe. Sleep is coming now, a gentle tide, a soft blanket of forgetting. It is washing over your feet, your legs, your hips. Your entire lower body is heavy, relaxed, and sinking into a deep, deep rest. The tide is rising, washing over your belly, your chest, your shoulders, releasing the last remnants of the day, carrying it all away. Your arms are heavy, your hands are still, your heart is at peace. The gentle water is rising now, up your neck, over your face, quieting the mind, smoothing the brow, bringing a profound and final stillness. You are floating now, weightless, held, secure, carrying you into the deep, healing peace you have always deserved.